Hello and welcome to the Beer Jerk Beer of the Week Drink Along. I'm Luke and this week we're drinking a beer called Buzz Me from Lakeman. I'm enjoying this beer. I've been really enjoying it for the last 5 or 10 minutes as I just recorded this entire video and just found out that my phone didn't record it. So going in for the second time. Hopefully this will be better than the first one. Anyway, this week Buzz Me is a double IPA from Lakeman, and it's made with honey from the local area. And brewing with honey, you might expect that to result in a beer which is sweet, which tastes like honey, but you would be wrong. So any of you out there that are watching who are not brewers, I'll give you a quick rundown of how the brewing process works. Basically, you get some sugary water by brewing some malted barley. So you take this malted barley, which is full of carbohydrates, and then you put it in hot water for about an hour, and then that breaks all the sugars down, so you end up with this sugary water. Then you chuck the yeast in, and the yeast eat the sugar and turn it into booze. So all of the sweetness that was in the sugary water gets turned into alcohol, and you end up with a dry drink in the end of it. And the sugar doesn't have to be wort, which is the name for malted barley and water that's been cooked up together. It can be grape juice, or it can be apple juice. That's how wine and cider are made. It can be honey, which is how mead is made. Yeast will just take any kind of sugar and turn it into booze. The exception is milk sugar, lactose. That's broadly the only kind of sugar that yeast can't ferment and turn into booze, which is why you get things like milk stouts that have a real residual sweetness to it. So chucking a load of honey into the brew with this beer has resulted in a beer which is actually more alcoholic, but lighter bodied and with a drier, so a less sweet finish than you might expect. And I do get some honey flavour in there. So generally not a lot when you have additional complex sugars. Often brewers use things like date sugar or like molasses, are popular things with Belgian style beers. And you definitely get some more complexity and a little bit of character that comes through, but it's not necessarily the real character of for example, dates, or in this case, honey. But I am getting some honey notes. I'll have to check in with Rory, the brewer, as to actually what the recipe was, because I'd suspect that they also use some honey malt. And honey malt doesn't contain any honey, it's just simply the way that the barley was kilned. It's the way it was sort of cooked to give you some nice honey character. And also it's got a real nice hop character to it. It's got those lovely fruity citra notes to it. I'm getting some sort of stone fruit, maybe some apricot character in there. I'm getting a bit of like a ripe pineapple, canned pineapple character to it, which might also be from the NZH 105, which is that's a new experimental hop from NZ Hops. Each year they release different experimental hops, and recently, famously, they released Nectaron in 2021. Prior to that, there were hops like Nelson Sauvin, famously, that wonderful hop. And last year, they released a batch of experimental hops that you may have come across in different beers. So they were all called NZH 10, so there was 101, 102, etc. So the 102 has already been given a name, which means it's a successful hop and that will stick around, and that became Superdelic. And this is NZH 105. So yeah, it's hard to determine exactly what that's bringing to the beer, because there's another couple of hops in there and a lot of stuff going on. So it's hard to judge exactly what a hop does when it's used as part of a sort of a blend in a beer. But all round, it's pretty tasty. And that was the Brax project. So you'll see on these cans, it says that it's an official Brax partner, which is NZ Hops worked with, I think, about 60 different brewers, and sent them these different experimental hops for them to use and to give NZ Hops feedback, and more importantly for drinkers to give them feedback on what they think of the hops. So really, really cool stuff to be able to get a chance to drink some of these experimental hops that may become the next superstars, or they may just get forgotten by the wayside, really. So this was canned 6 weeks ago. It was canned and then shipped directly to our chiller, and then we sent it out to you. So with hoppy beers like this, it's always best to drink them fresh, always best to keep them refrigerated. That's when you know you're going to get beer in really good condition. I really do like IPAs from Lakeman. Lakeman do some cool experimental stuff. I'm a fan of their stouts. But their beers have a bit of a certain feel to them, which comes from the water. So the Lakeman it was started by James Cooper, who's a farmer, and it's a brewery that's on the farm in a shed. So there's a real affinity with the hop growers that we're just talking about. And the character of the water that comes from the bore on the farm is the water that's used in every one of their beers. So it's really nice that they have that specific Lakeman character as the beer. So I hope you enjoy this. It's at 8.4%, so it's definitely a bigger beer, probably not one you're going to be having lots and lots of, but it's exactly what I need after a slightly stressful day. The Beer Jerk website went down this morning. We couldn't have emails, it was a massive pain, and then, yeah, as I just told you, I went and recorded this entire video and it didn't record, so I'm definitely enjoying having a big double IPA. And if you're enjoying these Beer of the Week experiences, tell a friend, would you? I started this Beer of the Week Classic subscription about 8 years ago now, so we've had hundreds of beers. And I think it's really fun, but we have surprisingly few subscribers. I think it's a pretty fantastic deal. It works out about $8 per beer. We've never put our prices up. In fact, we lowered them a couple of years ago slightly. So for the price of about $8 per beer, for these sort of fantastic beers, I think it's a great deal. So please get your friends involved, get your workmates involved. We'd love to see a few more people signing up for the Beer Jet subscription and becoming part of our community, supporting fantastic independent brewers and drinking delicious things. Anyway, that's enough from me. Thanks for joining. Cheers to Lakeman, great work, and cheers to you.